Louisiana Beer Reviews Łomża. Now this Łomża is called the Jasne, and that means bright in the Slavic, Polish and other Slavic languages. So the bright Łomża from Łomża, Poland. Water, malt, and hops. No corn, no rice. So it's all malt beer. Imported by Amtech International New York Corporation. There's no website for them. Van Pur is the brewer umbrella company in Warsaw, Poland. There's a website for Van Pur and there's a website for Łomża. 5.7% alcohol. All right, this was sent to me by Douglas in Virginia. Thank you, Douglas. But he was visiting in New Jersey when he sent this, so he actually sent this and another beer to me, and I really appreciate the gift. This is produced in kegs and in 500 milliliter bottles and cans. That's the only size according to the website. Of course, the website also says that they've started distributing, exporting to the United States in 2018. Well, my first review of Łomża was 2012. So I don't understand what they're talking about. I did Łomża 7.8%. It was called malt liquor, or Mockney as they call it, but the label that I had said malt liquor. Then I tried I did a 6% version, and now this one. So I keep dropping. Next time I'm going to do the non-alcohol. Just kidding. So 7.8, 6, and now the 5.7. All malt. I don't think those stronger ones were all barley malt. I think they did have corn filler. All right. There are a few English language reviews for this. Couple, at least. A lot of them are in Polish, but I'm not going to watch those because I wouldn't understand what they're saying. Okay, thick, creamy, slightly off-white head. This beer was introduced in 1968. That's when they started brewing, 1968. There's a lot of sediment in here. It's not as filtered as you might think it would be. Lots of little fine, I guess, yeast particles, or maybe the other, the barley malt and hops. I don't know, but it's definitely full of something. But even with American adjunct lager, sometimes if you have a clear sky like today with direct sunlight, you'll see that. Okay, so normally you just don't have those conditions, and most people that are drinking Keystone Light are not holding it up to a direct light to check it out, I guess. You're usually drinking right out of the can or bottle. Get the biscuity barley malt. Yes. Yes, maybe a little grassy hop action, but mostly biscuity barley malt. Like a cracker. Let's go with the taste. Cheers. I really appreciate it, Douglas. You spend a lot of money on the shipping and for the beers themselves. I always tell people, don't go to the trouble to send me beers. It's a hassle and it's a big expense. But he enjoys doing it, and I absolutely appreciate it. Medium-bodied, crisp finish. Well, this would be considered a malt liquor in the United States by virtue of its strength. So Mickey's Fine Malt Liquor, those are all have filler. They have corn corn-based brewer syrup, but they 5.6, Colt 45, 5.6. The discontinued, they used to have something called Mickey's Ice Brewed Ale, believe it or not. I had bought that in Florida and in Wisconsin. Never saw it in Louisiana. That was 5.8. Old English 800 brand malt liquor is 5.9. So you see, that's the range generally. So this is in that range. But you don't, to my knowledge, I could be wrong, you don't get an all malt Reinheitsgebot, let's call it, malt liquor in the United States. But maybe, and I doubt it, but they're saying on the website for Stack which is United Brands, headquartered in California, but United Brands, they have contract product. You know, their stuff is contract brewed. They're talking about, unless I'm reading it wrong, they're talking about it's made with the finest, well, you know, every company's going to say that, the finest barley malt, hops, and yeast, and with no coloring or flavoring. That's their non-flavored, strong. They call it an imperial lager. Now, is it possible it could be an all-malt beer? It's possible, and I tasted it, and I have a review recorded. It could be, but it's so strong. But that's another story for another day. And then I revisited the Juice 14% blackberry, and I was so aggravated because I thought I hadn't tried, but I was thinking, did you try it? They had the mango I could have tried, the doggone blueberry. I think one is I did the lemonade. So I did a double. I didn't try a new flavor. I found that in Alaska, and it's not sold anywhere around here. So I felt so bad I mean, it's a good thing to revisit. It's just irritating. Now, so the Łomża I found one time in Racine, Wisconsin. Another time I think I found that 6% in New Jersey, I believe, on U.S. Highway 1, southbound on a road trip. But we don't get Polish beers in Louisiana aside from the Combs beers from Brauerei Fortuna. We get the Combs. Now, if they started bringing in Polish lagers and all that, would I buy them? Sure, I'll try. Nice grassy hop bitterness. The IBUs must be pretty low on this one, though. I'm thinking around 14, 15. Sweetness, 2.5 out of 5 sugar cubes. Bitterness, yeah, 2.5 out of 5 hop cones. So it's very balanced. See, sweetness, bitterness are balanced. The international enjoyment units are much higher than the international bitterness units. Let me tell you. Believe you me, believe me you. I don't recall what they were saying about this on Beer Advocate, Rate Beer, and Untappd. I guess they're saying more or less, well, Rate Beer might give it a 3 out of 100 because they're kind of crazy about stuff. But I just didn't look at the scores, but they're not. It wasn't an extraordinary amount of check-ins on those sites, but they were kind of like, yeah, it's good if you want to buy something that's not that good, you know, because you get on those websites and it's like, well, this is not an imperial porter with peanut butter. This is not a stout with chocolate and coffee. It's not, like a real beer. It's just a Euro lager, and we all know those aren't real beers for real fans. That's the kind of, you say, well, that's an insane mentality. It's kind of like the mentality, you know. They'd be like, you drinking juice? That's a flavored beer, fool. What are you drinking? Oh, I'm drinking a Apple Crisp 14.3% made with nutmeg and hazelnut stout. Oh, that's not a flavored beer. Okay, but anyway, you get where I'm coming from on that. But to have the attitude that, you know, water, barley malt, hops, and yeast lagers, that's pretend beer. Right. It's kind of a scary way to look at it. And then a lot of English people, I'm not putting down the English people, but I see videos where it'd be like, well, this is not really a beer, it's a lager. It's not a true beer, it's a lager. It's like, do you understand what beer is? There's two types, ales and lagers, okay? So what do you mean when you say that? It's not an ale. It would be like saying, well, an orange is not a real fruit because, you know, it's, you know, we are, you know, obviously apples are real fruit. Okay, but anyway, this is a definite A, aside from all that rigmarole that I was bringing up, but it's interesting to discuss these topics. To me it is, at least. You might be bored stiff with it, but yes, a wonderful beer. I'm not totally thrilled with Polish beers. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Sometimes they kind of like not clean tasting. Like there's some dirtiness about it. I can't describe that taste. It's like this off a little bit. Like maybe their equipment isn't the most pristine. You say, oh, that's terrible to say that. I don't. It's not terrible to say it because I just get that impression. I don't know why it would be like that. Or something about the grains maybe that's. But some of them, they'll be a little off. They'll be a little off. But then you get the German Pilsners, they never like that. There's never like an off flavor. It's just like everything's so clean, sterile in a sense like that. Can't explain it, but that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, but this is usually the Polish beers. They kind of like they'll be in the A- in usually the B area for me, except for the Comas beers. But those are very expensive specialty items. This is an everyday drinker. Like just people drink this every day, like run of the mill type thing, and in a good way. So I'm gonna go with 94 out of 100, 9.4 out of 10. A most excellent beer. And I'm going to end this review by saying, y'all go to Poland and tour the Łomża Brewery.